What's up guys, it's Daniel here. In this video, I'll be talking about how I keep my lizards outside. So like, maintain the enclosures, feeding, like when it comes to cooling down, heating up, all the requirements of keeping your lizards outside. So I'm starting off here with my albino blue tongue. I don't have a name for him yet, I've only had him for 2 weeks. See, nice beautiful colours. He's got a bit of food on his face as you can see there from that dog video. Yeah, nice bluey. He lives in this one. I'll go through all the animals first. So we'll start off with, my nan calls him Whitey, so I'm calling him Whitey from now on, just to have a name. There's a nice bluey there. And I'll introduce you to the rest of the animals. Alright, second attempt because he just peed all over me. This is Dwayne, my chunky shingleback skink. The reason why they're called a shingleback skink is because he's got all the shingles down here. The reason why I call him Dwayne the Rock Johnson is because he looks like a rock, but he also looks like a pine cone. That's where they get the nickname pine cone lizard, or double-headed lizard, because his tail looks the exact same as his head. The reason why I look so cautious is because he just peed all over my arm. Little cheeky lizard. But yeah, that's Dwayne. Support him a little more. And I'll show you guys the last inhabitants of the first enclosure. Actually, I've got to show you 2 more actually, yeah. Still got my bearded dragon in there, my blue tongue, and I've got one more new addition to show you guys. Next up is Bumblebee, my male bearded dragon. He's the oldest lizard I've got out here. But he hasn't been out here the longest. The longest lizard I've had outside is probably Maximus. I'll get to him in a minute. He's been outside his whole life, and he's the biggest out of all of them. Looks like he's the healthiest. So I wish I could put the bearded dragon and the shingleback out first off outside from the start. I kept the shingleback in for the first 6 months, and then just progressed because I put them together, so shingleback and the blue tongue together. I was just being cautious just to make sure they didn't fight or anything, but they got along good. They always sleep next to each other, always hang out. But yeah, this is Bumblebee. He used to have a housemate Charlie in there as well, my female bearded dragon, but she passed away a few years back. He produced some babies as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'll show you guys the bluey that's in there, and then I'll show you the new addition in that tank. So here is my massive blue tongue. He is an eastern Queensland locality, and look at the size of him. Chunky. I reckon he weighs 1.1, 1.2 now. See his rock solid stomach. He'd be a good breeder. I don't even feed him that much either. Obviously I fed him a bit of dog food just then, but I haven't fed him in a few days just to try and calm him down. Because going into that slower eating stage because it's going down in temp. Yeah, big boy. Let's see. Beautiful lizard though. I bought him from Peter Birch, if you guys know him as Criticam. He was my first blue tongue I ever bought. And I'm not disappointed, beautiful lizard. Nice, big, healthy boy. As you can see, he's pretty large. And on top of that, he's really wide. Like that's my palm, that's the palm of my hand. And he's covering it. Beautiful boy. And now I'll show you my new addition. He's gonna be a little rascal to hold, but I'll show you guys now. So this is my new addition. Nice little hypermelanistic blue tongue skink. He's in the same enclosure as Whitey over there, my albino, but they're not together, they're separate. As you can see, there's a little splitter just here. That's his tank. This little bit here, and the rest is Whitey's. That's not his real name, by the way. Whitey's just what my nan names him, so it's just a name for now. Comment down below what we should name these 2 blueies. See, nice hypermelanistic colours. So got those nice orangey browns at the bottom. Beautiful lizard. And he's really active, which is good. Always wants to move around. Remember when I got Maximus, he was moving around, but not nearly as much as this guy. It's quite fun to hold actually. But when they get older, obviously they chill out a lot more. They'll just sit in the palm of your hand. But when they're younger, they've got all that energy to burn off. But yeah, now we'll get on to the tanks. Let me just put this guy real quick. So let's talk about the tanks now. Building wise, I got these 2. I've also got the splitter in there that took me a couple hours to build, but we'll get to that in a minute. When you've got lizards outside, it's up to you, but you can, when you're outside, you've got a lot more space obviously. So you can give your lizard the good amount of space for him to roam around, or she, sorry. Get some stuff in there for them to climb about so they don't get bored and just sit there. So when I always come out, the lizards are always out and about, looking for food, looking for water. So you've got your big water dish here. That's what I'm That's what I always have. The bigger the enclosure, the bigger the water dish. Got this big paint tray here for them. I used to have two, but one broke, got to get one. And in here, I got another paint tray. It's just down there for Whitey. Then they've obviously got the big water dish in there for the little Bluey. So water is a big factor, especially if you live in Australia, because the water dish tends to dry out almost every day on me. And since this has got all the climbing stuff in here for Bumble, the bearded dragon, the Bluey and the Shingleback also use it, so I'd also recommend that. It's climbing stuff. Not too high, because they do tend to be a bit clumsy. Building wise, like prices, you can build them pretty damn cheap, but then you can also build pretty expensive ones. These both cost me around $300–400. This one was a little bit cheaper, but then again, it's a lot smaller than that. This is also somewhat portable. You just take the doors off, like unscrew the hinges, and each slide will slide out of their sockets there. I used a garden bed, some pine wood sleepers that go around, then you've got the pine wood that's been treated on top, and then you just got the chicken wire underneath. And I've also got foam in between so it doesn't slam wood on wood. So it's a nice clean setup. Also got the tarp on the back for shade. That's something else you need, shade. So when it rains, if it gets really hot, your lizards had somewhere to escape to cool down or to keep warm. Same thing with this. Got two tarps underneath. This one's a lot more sturdy, a lot more solid, as you can see. You can see I've stapled all the chicken wire in. That's how it is for the whole setup. Then you got, for the winter, I've got these in here, the little hay boxes for all the blue tongues, the shinglebacks, and the bearded dragon if he wants to, but I know Bumblebee doesn't exactly like to chill in there. So what it is, it's like they fall asleep in there, hibernate throughout the whole winter, so they always keep them warm in there. They know if they come out there'll be food and water. But Maximus has already been using that every day. He comes out maybe once every 2-3 days for food. And this Bumblebee having a crack at some blueberries. Dwayne sometimes is in there, but most of the time he chills underneath this. That's where he sleeps. And Whitey, I'll get to him in a minute. Actually, I'll show you guys now while we're on the hay box. He's on top of it at the moment, but he's always in there. If he's not drinking or eating, he's in this hay box because obviously it's getting a little bit cooler for the winter seasons. Also got a little one in there for the little guy down there. Just got to put a lid on it, so it's like concealed. But yeah, they're both pretty cheap. If you're looking for something that's going to last you a really long time, I'd go with this idea. It's just pine sleepers all the way around. This lasts me 3 years and it's still bloody solid. If you want a video, it's in the comment section, or the comment section in the description, on how to build this and also about how to build that. Pretty easy, it's just time consuming, and they are pretty cheap as well. But obviously look wise, this one's looks a lot better than that one. But if you're looking for something that's not looks and it's going to do you well, this will be a good idea. The only problem with this one, since it's all pine, unless you have the time to sand it back, which I didn't, you may run the risk of having your lizards rub their nose on it, and Bumblebee's suffered a little bit from that. It's all repaired now because he decided to run and jump off one of the ledges and landed face first into the wood. Obviously grind up his face a little bit, but he's all good now. The blue tongues and shinglebacks never really like rub their noses. They're a little slow, so they don't have all that speed to rub their nose that quick on the wood. Bearded dragon's a different story. With a bearded dragon, keeping out here, it's probably the best thing for a bearded dragon, because when Bumblebee's been out here for the past few years, he's been a lot more active than what he was inside. He was just chilling on his rock or chilling on his log, that's about it. Out here, I'll come out and he'll literally come running out just to see me, always be running around looking for something. But yeah, because of all the UV rays, the heat, they love it out here. And I'll show you guys this setup now. With the substrate, you can use wood chips, you can use critter crumble, you can use just a bit of dirt, use a bit of sand if you want. I know people don't exactly like sand because it causes impaction in lizards apparently, but it does, but it doesn't. It's been really overreacting. Like, yes, they do cause impaction sometimes, rarely in lizards, mostly babies. But I've had Bumblebee on sand his whole life besides when he's been outside, and he never had impaction. I had him since he was 2 weeks old. Never had a problem with sand. I had my female Charlie on sand, never had a problem. My babies were on paper towel. just because I had them on paper, so I didn't have any sand on me. But yeah, never had a problem with sand. Just make sure you feed them right, and just don't chuck all their food into the sand, and you should be right. I'll talk about this setup now, this portable one. I just did a video on that. I can put it in the description below if I post it before this video, which I probably won't, so just look out for it. This is just made out of guinea pig cage. This is definitely the cheapest one. It's only portable too. I just got a guinea pig cage. I found 2 of them on the side of the road. Had spare chicken wire, had spare rubber. Cable tied all the wire to the wire, like chicken wire to the guinea pig wire, as you can see here. And I've got foam on the top so he can't climb over into these big slots here, the little one. And I've got foam around the outside just so Whitey doesn't hurt himself. But that was a pretty fun build. Very time consuming. Cut myself quite a few times from that one, because it's just wire all around. I plan on putting rubber around the outside on the top here, because there are some tiny sharp edges here, but I'll get to that later today maybe, if I have time. But yeah, that's practically it for the lizards. Feeding wise, I feed them, the little one I'm going to have to feed every day, just so I can bulk him up. Whitey I feed every 2 days. Maximus and Dwayne every 3 days, because they're pretty chunky now, so I need to try and slow them down. Bumblebee's still every 2 days. I feed him just a stack of salads. And with keeping this here so long, it's decided to have its own little inhabitants of crickets. So, yep, there we go. I just opened it and they jumped everywhere. And that's where Bumblebee jumped. So the crickets, they stay in between the 2 tarps, and they also stay just at the bottom here, in between the cracks. And a couple of weeks ago I saw a stack of baby crickets, so got my own little race of crickets just breeding in here. So that's a little food supply, if he catches them, which is always good. So yeah, if you guys got any more questions in regards to the enclosures, the lizards staying out here, and all that, comment down below, let me know. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to see more, because there's a lot more coming this year. Big year for me. I plan on having another setup, or 2 new setups actually, possibly, here, side by side. So I might have another pit, and I might have an outdoor pond for my female short-necked turtle. But yeah, if you're wondering what that is, that's just a guinea pig cage. I showed it in the last video, but if you guys went in the last video, it's just a little guinea pig hutch. I won't get him out because he's really scared. Your little guinea pig. If you're wondering what's underneath the substrate, it's these big thick rubber sheets. If you guys don't have them on you, weed mat, like maybe 2 sheets of weed mat, should do just fine, just so the lizards don't dig out, especially the blue tongue, or blue tongues and shinglebacks. I've never had a problem with Dwayne digging, but Maximus, my blue tongue, he lives in here, digs like crazy. He's dug under the rubber, like he's found a nook where it goes dirt, which is in the back corner here, but he can't get out because there's rubber all around the outside as well. So don't worry, but it keeps him cool. I put the hay box in there and he prefers to stay in there than going underground. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, comment down below and like this video, and I'll talk to you all later.